So, Magic 2013 pre-release, guys. I couldn't go down to my preferred stomping grounds for pre-release because he wasn't expecting to be open into July, so he canceled his pre-release, and then we realized he was going to be open into July. He tried to contact people at Wizards and get it reinstated, and they said, it's too late, man, we can't do anything for you. Who happens, you know? Who happens? So I went someplace else that I've been to a time or two before, and played there, had a bunch of good games, had fun, had some really mean matchups at times, and I mean some truly awesome games too. But I also had a freaking killer card pool. Liliana of the Dark Realms. I was happy about opening that. I'll be perfectly blunt. Her neg 6 really isn't all that great. Oh, you get an emblem that says Swamps tap for quadruple black. That really doesn't help much in this environment. It really doesn't. Because there are so few spells and effects that can capitalize on that. On the other hand, you know, her ability to tutor swamps to your hand, and her ability to be reusable removal, pretty nice. I mean, if nothing else, she's 4 mana for a removal card, you know? Yeah, you can do worse. Speaking of removal, I had a pair of Murders, and a Cower in Fear, and a Turn to Slag, and a Flames of the Firebrand. Flames of the Firebrand and Cower in Fear both struck me as really nice, because people were running that white sorcery that gave them 3/1/1 soldier tokens. Either one of those will take those out. Just get those out of there. That was nice. That was nice. 2 Giant Scorpions. It's a great defensive card. I remember playing those back in Zendikar block. I would gladly hook them up with the net equipment, which would give the creature +0, +2, I think it was, and reach. So it's like, yeah, I've got a 1/5 reach death touch. Come on, bring it. Bring it. But yeah. So, you know, Giant Scorpion is a really, really nice blocker, if nothing else. Servant of Nothrok, it's a 3/1 with an Exalted. She's not bad. Duty Bound Dead to 0/2 with Exalted, that regens for 3 and a black. It's not bad. Tormented Soul got reprinted, unblockable and cannot block. It's alright. Sign in Blood, nice little card draw. A foil Firewing Phoenix that I opened in the same booster as Liliana of the Dark Realms. Yeah, do you think I was happy about that booster, guys? Yeah, not at all. That was a horrible booster. I'm a jerk. Also in red, I had a Dragon Hatchling. Hey, look, there's another red flyer. And a Slumbering Dragon red flyer. Fun things with him. We'll talk more on him in a minute. Crimson Muck Waiter. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm already strong in black, and I open one of him. Great. Torch Fiend. When I was putting the deck together, I was really debating between like the Torch Fiend and a Goblin Arsonist. I went with the Torch Fiend. I think overall I made the better choice with that. You know, an extra point of, guaranteed it's a little bit of a slower card, but it's an extra point of power, and he can nuke artifacts, which wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad idea, you know. And it almost became relevant at one point. One of my opponents at one point did have an artifact creature that was getting ridiculous. The guy that you can like tap to put +1/+1 counter on him. Yeah, so that you know, I knew he was in my deck, so I wasn't too worried about it. Reckless Brute, 2 and a red for a 3/1 haste, must attack each turn if possible. Well, if able. He didn't come up very often. I just didn't draw him very often. And usually when I did draw him, he wasn't terrifyingly relevant. Oh well. 2 Canyon Minotaurs, they were nice. 2 Mog Flunkies, they were nice. Mog Flunky is one of those cards that's really easy to underestimate, because it's like, oh, he can't attack or block alone. Who gives a crap? He's a 3/3 for 2 mana. If you had a 1-drop, you're golden. You know, turn 3, you're swinging. You're swinging. I also had a Ring of Vulcus. 2 to play, 1 to equip. Equipped creature has haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature if it's red. Now, let me get back to the Slumbering Dragon on that. He's a single red mana for a 3/3 flyer. He cannot attack or block unless he has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on him. Whenever you or a planeswalker you control is attacked, put a +1/+1 counter on him. So, for example, if your opponent attacks you with 3 creatures, he gets 3 counters. If he attacks like you and one of your planeswalkers with like 1 creature each, he gets 2 counters. Kid science fun stuff. So he came in really, really useful. There was at least one game where I've got him on the board, and I'm slugging it out with my opponent. And I look at my board position, I realize I can't win unless I swing. And if I sit here and don't swing, he's definitely going to kill me. So I just said, alright, screw it. Serve with all the team that's able to go. And he like blocked 2 of my guys. He had something, I can't remember what, that he was like hammering the crap out of me with. It was a flyer. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was hammering the crap out of me with this flyer. And he also had a pair of the 3/3 hexproof guys in green on the board. And he blocked 2 of my smaller dudes. He was gonna lose one of his guys, but then he put a Titanic Growth on it, and I ended up like losing 2 creatures out of that exchange. But I did take him down to like, I want to say 2. So he's at like 2. I'm at like, I want to say 7 or something like that. And he's looking at a board position where if he swings with just the guy he's been hammering me with, then he's not going to do enough damage to kill me, and my remaining guys will swing in and kill him. If he swings with more than 1 guy, the dragon had 3 counters on it at that point. If he swung with more than 1 guy, the dragon would get his 5th counter and be online to block. He just plain couldn't kill, and he ended up scooping at that point. If he had saved the Titanic Growth for his own attack and was just happy to let his creature die, things would have been a different story. But he also didn't know what I had in hand. I'm sitting there with all my lands open and 2 cards in hand. He didn't know I was packing a pair of swamps. He didn't need to know. There were also a couple of games where this deck, like, I sat there, I'm like, why do you hate me? 2 of the games I lost because I had a removal card in hand for a creature that my opponent was hammering the crap out of me with, and I just couldn't draw what I needed to cast it. At one point I'm sitting there with like 1 swamp on the board and a murder in hand, and I couldn't cast the murder. And my opponent killed me because of it. And that was in like round, I don't remember what round it was, but that was in game 1 of that particular round. Game 2 I beat my opponent. Game 3, he's once again beating the snot out of me with something that I can't do anything about. And I've got 3 mountains and a swamp. So I've got 4 mana available. I've got 3 mountains and 1 swamp on the board. And no word of a lie, I've got both murder and turn to slag in hand. I can't cast either of them. I can't cast either of them. And I have some, that irked me. It irked me. But you know, my opponent, he took me down fair and square. I can complain, but you know what? It don't do me any good. And way one or other, I had some awesome stuff. You know, let me just put down some of the stuff that I got in the rest of my card pool. There's black. There's red. There's green. There's white. Okay. Let's talk about a few things. First of all, there's my pre-release promo. Xanthrid Gorgon. She's funky. Couldn't play her, but she was funky. Relinquary Tower. Apparently it's really popular in EDH. I can understand why, but it's a land, taps for colorless, and it says you have no maximum hand size. All well and good. I honestly would not use that. The only EDH deck I have put together right now is actually a land destruction EDH deck. And a lot of people don't like that. They're like, oh, it's land destruction, it's cheap, it's blah blah, this, that, the other. So it's like, it creates struggle. If you don't want to struggle, you're playing the wrong game. But whatever. What do I know, right? Right. So, red in sideboard had a Goblin Arsonist, a Volcanic Strength. I actually lost a game to one of those. My opponent throws it on one of his creatures, and I'm sitting there, it's like, oh, wait, that thing's got Mountain Lock. Crap. Pair of Smelts, which, for the most part, are better than Shatter. It's exactly the same for 1 mana less, so, yeah, what's to complain about? Wild Guess, it's a double red sorcery. In addition to its casting cost, you have to discard a card, and you draw 2. It's not bad. I wanted to play it, I didn't. Mindclaw Shaman is interesting. It's 4 and a red for 2/2. When he hits the board, target opponent reveals their hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery card from their hand without paying its mana cost. It's interesting. It didn't make the cut. Well. Also in black, I had a Foil Walking Corpse, a Disentomb, a pair of Zombie Goliaths that I ended up cutting, a Ravenous Rats, I ended up cutting that, a Harbor Bandit that was never in the running. He's a 2/2 for 2 and a black. Gets +1/+1 as long as you control an island, and if you pump a colorless into blue, he's unblockable till end of turn. He is funky, I just didn't want to run him. Diabolic Revelation did not make the cut. X3 and double black sorcery. Search your library for X cards, put them in your hand, shuffle. The reason why I didn't run it, even though I was running Liliana of the Dark Realms, who could like massively accelerate my mana base, the reason why I wasn't running Diabolic Revelation is because I figured that by the time I can cast it for any meaningful amount, the game should already be won, either by myself or by my opponent. It doesn't matter. The game should already be over. I mean, I'm sure that thing's going to see a lot of play in EDH, but on Constructed, yeah, not so much. What else happened sideboard? Phyrexian Hulk. He's a big stupid beater. He's all right. Let me put down my other colors for a moment. This is going to take a couple moments. Yeah, I'm just going to have to do this one color at a time. Blue, I had a Hydro Surge, big deal. 3 Downpours. If I was running blue, those would have been so annoying. But I wasn't running blue. Battle of Wits. Useless and limited. It's a cute card and all, but it's useless and limited. Chase's Phantasm, kind of vaguely interesting. Mind Sculpt is kind of interesting. You have mill target opponent for 7. Vedalken Transfer, it's another mill card. Merfolk of Pearl Trident, reprinted. I'm not really excited about seeing them back. I mean, it's a classic card and all, but it's not a good card. It's a 1/1 for 1. Who cares? We actually, believe it or not, we expect more even out of blue these days, you know? Fairy Invaders, 4 and a blue for a 3/3 flyer with flash. There was a similar card, I believe it was a Drake somewhere in Scars Blocked. So they're pretty much on curve. Though having Fairy as a creature type is kind of nice. Divination, it's a classic. I don't know if I'd say it's a classic, but it's solid. At the very least in limited. A pair of Unsummons, those would have been annoying. Spellwine, 5 and a blue, sorcery. Exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard and target instant or sorcery from opponent's graveyard. Copy them, cast the copies if able without paying their mana costs. Exile Spellwine. Well, Spelltwine. I'm sorry, Spelltwine. It's interesting. It is interesting. Scroll Thief, it's a 1/3. If it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. It's okay. Kraken Hatchling is a nice little stall card. Water Courser, it's 3 mana for a 2/3. You can pump blue to give it +1, -1 till end of turn. It's kind of interesting. No complaints about it, really. Just about putting down my green now. Green I didn't have a whole heck of a lot of, but some of it was interesting. I mean, we're looking at a Farseek, which is nice to see him print. It makes a lot of people think that Wizards might be reprinting the Shocklands in Return to Ravnica this fall. I'm not convinced yet, but I'd love to see it. Rancor, that's awesome to see reprinted. Rancor is quite possibly one of the best creature enchantments ever printed. It's a single green. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and trample. If Rancor goes to the graveyard from play, well, from the battlefield, return it to your hand. It's almost as good as Equipment, especially considering the fact it was printed several years before Equipment would ever be made. Got a couple cards here that are basically sideboard material. Plummet and Naturalize. They're alright. Bountiful Harvest is almost unplayable. 1 life for each land you control. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? Who cares? Vastwood Gorger. It's a big dumb 5/6, but there's something to be said for a creature being big and dumb. Roaring Primadox. 4/4 at the beginning of your upkeep. Return creature you control to owner's hand, which would have gone really great with that Bond Beetle. 0/1 for green. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It's nice. Pair of Timberpack Wolves. It's a colorless enough green for a 2/2, which gets +1/+1 for each other copy of himself you control. All well and good. Pretty nice. 2 Centaur Coursers. It's a vanilla 3/3 for 3. It's not bad. Sentinel Spider. It's a 3 and double green for a 4/4 Vigilance Reach. Apparently that's replacing Giant Spider. I'm not too happy about that. I mean, Giant Spider is really nice. It really is. I would have been really actually happier if they reprinted Kessig Recluse in the core set. It's a 2 and double green for a 2/3 Reach Death Touch. Yeah. But they did reprint a smaller spider. I believe it was a 2/1 Reach Death Touch. Not 100% certain. Oh well. Prey Upon, one of those rare animals, a green removal spell. An Arbor Elf, 1/1, tap to untap a 4. It's alright. An Elvish Archdruid. Now what's funky about seeing him, he's a 1 and double green for 2/2. Other elves you control get +1/+1. Tap to add green to your mana pool for each elf you control. Which is really interesting. If I'd gotten a slightly different card pool, he would have been awesome, because, just as an example, I saw some people that were running around with like 3 Elvish Visionaries. It's 1/1 that when it hits the board you draw a card. It's pretty nice. And here's my white, the best of which was the Sarah Angel and the O-Ring. Both of which really nice. Unfortunately, you didn't get a whole hell of a lot to back it up. I mean, I gotta get an Angelic Benediction, which is a nice card. 3 and a white for an enchantment. It has Exalted. And whenever a creature you control attacks alone, you may tap target creature. That's pretty nice. I saw a lot of people making good use of those. I was on the receiving end of that. I didn't like that, but oh well. War Falcon's interesting. It's a 2/1 flyer for white. But it can't attack unless you control a knight or a soldier. It's interesting. Wouldn't be surprised if it ends up seeing play in white weenie decks. Erase. That's a sideboard card at best. Exile target enchantment for white. Meh, whatever. Silver Coat line, it's a 2/2 for colors and white. It's a bear. Couple of instant speed buffers. We got a Glorious Charge. Creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. Show of Valor. Target creature gets +2/+4 till end of turn. Those are nice. Pillarfield Ox. It's a vanilla 2/4 for 3 and a white. Yeah, nothing to write home about. Prized Elephant is part of. You saw two of the other cards in this lovely little cycle. It's a cycle of uncommons that get +1/+1 if you control a land of a specific other type, and it has a special ability keyed off of that color of mana as well. For example, the Prized Elephant is a 3/3 for 3 and a white that gets +1/+1 trample if you have a forest. I'm sorry, gets +1/+1 if you have a forest, and you can pump green to give it trample till end of turn. The red one's a 2/1 that gets +1/+1 if you have a swamp and can regenerate for 2 and a black. The black one, I can't remember what the hell his power toughness was, but he gets the bonus off of islands and he becomes unblockable. Well, he's in my sideboard somewhere, damn it. I can't. The blue one got got bonuses off of white. I can't remember what. And the green one got bonuses off of mountains and had optional haste. There we go. Crusader of Audric. Power toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. It's a better Keldon Warlord, really. It's an effect we've seen in green, we've seen it in red, we've seen it in white now. It's a pretty interesting. It's a pretty solid effect. It's migrated colors a lot over the years. It started in red, moved to green, now it's in white. Craziness. We've seen equipment that grants the same ability. Knight of Glory. There's also, I believe, Knight of Infamy is the black version. The color's in a white 2/1, pro black exalted. The black version is pro white and exalted. So yeah, there's that. So the deck did pretty much all right. We ended up going 6 rounds. I went 3 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. The draw occurred in first round. I got my opponent in a game. My opponent got a game on me, and then game 3, time ran out. We went to turns. We couldn't finish each other off. It happens. One of those losses, if I had drawn even. One of those losses is because in 2 of my games, I couldn't draw a second swamp. I just couldn't do it to save my life, and I needed to. And it happens. I had a lot of really good games that day, though, and I can't really complain. And when all was said and done, I got 2 booster packs. I came in like 14th out of 45 people, I think it was. And I can't really complain. So I'm going to open these booster packs up right now. And we'll see what we get, you know? That's open. I'll also say that I think the pre-release packs are kind of like front-loaded for better cards because I see disproportionately large number of mythics in these pre-release packs, especially as of late. Oh, hi. Okay, the first pack I got a Kieran Dryad. It's a 1/1. Whenever you cast a white, blue, black, or red spell, it gets a +1/+1 counter. That's pretty nice. It's pretty solid. We're going back to Ravnica this fall, guys. She might end up being pretty boss. We'll see. We got a Cleaver Riot. 4 and a red, sorcery, creatures you control gain double strike till end of turn. That's not bad. Public Execution's an interesting one. 5 and a black, instant destroy target creature an opponent controls. Each other creature that player controls gets -2/-0 till end of turn. Someone royally screwed me up in one combat with that one. Gem of Becoming, 3 colors, 3 tap, sack it. Search your library for an island, swamp, and mountain, reveal, put them in your hand, then shuffle. Fun thing about that, for those of you who have older cards like the original Dual Lands, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Revised, or the Shock Lands, it just says land. You're searching for land type. So, for example, you can search for. Oh, I'm gonna search for a mountain. Bam! I got a plateau. It's a mountain and a plains. It's still a mountain. So there's fun stuff there. Else, Tormented Soul, a Smelt, Bountiful Harvest. Who cares? Blade Tusk Boar, Centaur Courser. Bark of the Vampire. Oh, that thing was a beating. There were a couple of people that tried to play that one against me, and I wasn't happy about it. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 in lifelink. Yeah, that's mean. Chandra's Fury, 4 to target player, 1 to each creature that player controls. Naturalize. Captain's Call, that's the one I was talking about earlier. That gave you 3/1/1 soldiers. That's a pain in the butt talks. Dark Favor, color a black and lose 1 life. Enchanted creature gets +3/+1. That's not bad. It's a solid limited card. I don't think I'd play it in constructed, but it's a solid limited card. Cute stuff in this pack. Nothing to write home about. So, let's take a quick peek at that other pack. So far, M13 is looking like an okay set. No complaints about it. That's it. The only real complaint I have, I say this partially because I just opened up a second copy of it, is the Ring of Valkish grants creature haste. All well and good. One of the things I've noticed is red tends to get shafted on special abilities a lot, simply on account of the fact that haste is one of the abilities most associated with red, and it's not a good. I mean, it's an okay ability and all, but for the most part, paying mana to grant a creature haste is generally bad. Because basically what's happening is it's actually a bit of a tempo hit, ironically enough. But whatever, right? I got a Captain of the Watch, 4 and double white for a 3/3 vigilance. Other soldiers you control get +1/+1 in vigilance. When it hits the battlefield, you get 3/1/1 white soldier tokens. Interesting. I don't think I'd play it without reanimation shenanigans, but that's just me. Courtly Provocateur. 2 and a blue for a 1/1. Tap target creature attacks if able. Tap target creature blocks if able. Phyrexian Hulk. He's big and dumb. Ring of Valkis. Honestly, all of the rings seem pretty decent. I have to say the Ring of Valkis is probably the weakest of them, but simply because Slumbering Dragon's in there, that's nice. That and Heaven's Forbid, putting +1/+1 counters on your dudes is cool too. Tricks of the Trade's interesting. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and unblockable. Vial Rebirth, exile target creature card from a graveyard, put 2/2's black zombie on the battlefield. I had someone once use that on my Phoenix. That was annoying. But oh well. The Phoenix is really an awesome card because it's a 4/2 flyer that you can recur your hand from your graveyard, so that's pretty awesome. But I'm getting sidetracked from that one. Goblin Battle Jester. He's 3 and a red for a 2/2. Whenever you cast a red spell, target creature can't block this turn. Interesting. Crippling Blight. Target enchanted creature gets -1/-1 and can't block. That's kind of funky. Another Timberpack Wolf. Griffin Protector. He's a 2/3. When he enters the battlefield under your control, when another creature enters the battlefield under your control, the Griffin Protector gets +1/+1 till end of turn. He can be a pain in the butt. Angel's Mercy. It's usually jank. There's another Wild Guess, another Farseek, and another Volcanic Strength. Alright, I'll admit, I didn't pull anything too spectacular out of the prize packs. But then, you know, when you get a foil of Phoenix and Liliana the Dark Realm in the rest of your stuff, your prize packs aren't likely to impress you. So, yeah. Well, hopefully, we're gonna in a week or two, I'll have something for you guys for M13 draft. See what's going on with that. Because from sealed deck right here, things look pretty nice. But I'll admit, I got like an awesome pool. And, you know, no two ways about it, just an awesome pool. Alrighty. I'll catch you later, fellas. Be good, be safe, etc., etc.